Hey folks, okay, back to work on the Christmas train layout and gonna give you an update on what we've done with the left and right sides of the table, show you a little bit of the underside of how this thing is put together, and then show you the final results before we actually install it and put it underneath the tree. So here we go.
Here's I've laid down on one half of the train table here the cloth that I picked up, and it's kind of nice. I don't know if you can see it, but it's got kind of a little shiny surface to it, which gives it sort of a snow-like appearance. Here are the two hills that I had talked about. I've got I put some snow sprinkles. So basically two different techniques to try to get something on here. On camera, it doesn't look as good as it does in real life. It comes a little bit yellow in camera, so we'll see when it gets down. But right now I've got kind of put a snow surface on there with some reflective, some of that fake reflective snow underneath. This is more of a scale model style right here. You can see used a stippling technique for painting, also called the leopard spot technique to get that out. And you can see that came out really neat. So that's got kind of a neat effect to it. So two different effects, same layout, just to play around with it a little bit and see how it comes out.
All right, so for starters, let's take a look at what this is supposed to look like on the right side. With everything on it, you can see the buildings, added some trees for detail, and some scale people. A little bit of painting and final detail work to do, but this is pretty much what it's going to look like when completely laid out. But I want to give you an idea of how it got to this point.
Okay, so half two is right here, and you can see similar kind of construction, similar thing. Again, use that same material. Mistake I made, however, you can see there's a little bit of a line right there, and that is the glue substance I used that leached through and made a sort of unlovely little color right there. So I'm going to work with it. I'm going to come up with something to mask it a little bit. I'm not going to relay it and buy a whole new section of cloth. It's just wasteful, and I don't like splicing it in. I don't think it looks good that way. So come up with something, be fine. But as you can see, raised bed there, raised road bed along the outer outskirts there. That is the cork that was laid down. Came up pretty good there. I'm going to do a little bit. I think what I'm not going to lay down. I'm not going to put down any kind of gravel or anything like that for ballast. I just don't think it's, this is going to get picked up and put back down. That ballast is going to get spread all over the house. So I think what I'm going to do is paint that brown or a gray charcoal color. I'll play around with it a little bit and see how it looks. Anyway, folks, that's what it looks like for now. I'm going to go and show you some of the trees. These came out pretty good. So these are the little dollar store trees that I picked up. They were a bright green color. Didn't smell really good. So I used some standard Testors modeling paint and darkened in some of the greens, put a little brown there behind just to sort of accentuate the trunks, and then added the white for the snow. And so that's going to go a little bit on that hill and that hill right there. So that's where we are right now. Two halves are done, and I've run a little bit more of the cloth underneath and around the sides for just sort of cosmetic things, because it's a lot easier to paint, or rather a lot easier than painting. And otherwise, this is where we sit right now, folks.
Okay, so we're going to move it outside where it's a little bit rainy, but we're going to look at the underside and the actual construction as this thing goes together.
Well, okay, we're back outside because I have more workspace here, and it's raining again, which is great. So I just want to walk you through the assembly process so you got an idea of how I sort of envision this whole thing getting put together. And so the first thing is these lag bolts here, which will connect over here, and our male and female connectors here, which will connect the wires up and give our bus line power. I'm going to do that real quick. I'm going to connect all that, and then we're going to lay it down flat just to show you the next step in the assembly process. All right, so we're all patched together. Male-female ends are connected, and we are screwed down nicely. So you'll see I've got the, I've got the little fixing holes, if you want to call them that. It's the guide holes for the top layer, the foam layer, which is the presentation layer drilled right there, and the dowels, which are right here, are drilled in nicely and actually are glued in nicely, and they should just fall into place. At least they have in practice. So let's see if they do in performance. All right, so everything has power. We're all lit. We're gonna lay down some track and just make sure everything fits just right.
And so here's the end result. You can see the train there is a modified 290 with a couple of cars I picked up and some other little odds and ends that I've decided to add. The houses are put in and are lighted, and you can see they all look great. And that's pretty much where all the figures are going to go. And unfortunately, it doesn't have a tree over the top of it because it's not delivered to the customer. But for purposes of display and showing you guys what this is all about, it does the trick. I did do the brown paint, vice the ballast there, and I think that has came out pretty good. And you see we left a little a button over there on the left side, and that building does light up and play some music, which is pretty cool. So that's it for the train table, folks. Thanks very much for going with me on this adventure. I truly enjoyed it, and I hope the family that's going to get it will too. So thanks for watching, everybody.